minute and walk you through the course as you will see it. So this is the home page. And there is some information here, as you can see, on how the game works, as well as using Canvas and some module requirements and things like that that let the student know what they need to do in order to finish. Once you've done this page, you move on to Chapter 1, which is in the module section of the course. I have set it up so that the students will have to complete each item, whether that is mark as done, submit, view, whatever it is. They would have to do that in order to move through, and it must be sequential. However, for the game to be tested, I actually did remove some of that so simply people can move on. So we have the beginning that we have just an introduction page that talks about the story in and of itself. There's a short video here as well. And then moving on, we next have the setting explaining about Technopolis and the AI Academy. There's a video on Olivia. I didn't have a chance to make Owen's, but it kind of gives you an idea of how the character Olivia, who's in the story, will be played. Then you get to your first game, which is actually a Jeopardy game, which is really easy. You click on a block. You can see that. You want to find the answer. You can hit the space bar and then to escape the game. And then students, what they can do is they can simply submit this with any number of points that they want to. So it doesn't really matter. They just need to submit something in order to move forward. What you're going to see, which I forgot to mention, at the bottom of each page is a progress bar. So it kind of shows them where they are in the module as they're moving through. Then we have another page of information talking about the actual generation, and we have a timeline. And again, you can click on it's interactive, the timeline is, and then if we scroll on down, we have more information on what is generative AI. Then we have another page talking about specifically about some of this kind of a conversation that would be a video. Then we have a concept quiz that would allow students to do a little matching activity. Again, they would match, they would drag down whichever one it goes, and they can submit. If it's not right, it's going to tell them, and then they can move on to the next thing. It's non-graded, and so that it's easy. This is actually a quiz that they must do, and they must earn at least an 80%. Again, I am in teacher view, so give me just a second. Now we're in student view. Notice that they do have a time. This talks about the foundational knowledge that they've already covered in the Jeopardy game and the matching. There are different kinds. There's true, false. There's chronological ordering. There's matching, all these kind of questions. And again, they must choose, they must earn at least an 80%. Following the quiz, they would end up with a chapter summary, and then they would move on to Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is actually going to be a practical use of AI. And there are, again, pages full of text. They have an AI tool showdown, which is an embedded Google quiz. Quiz has branching. Again, they would make a choice and they would click next. If they chose correctly, they would have to explain whatever they choose. And then they get a little response from Dr. Athena and Zara. And it goes through several of these different tools, talking about which one they should use and when. And once they're done, they simply put in how many points they think they earned, and they can move forward. Following a few pages of content specifically talking about prompt engineering, they are going to take this scenario-based quiz in which they have to answer which are the most effective prompts. When they're finished with this quiz, they would take the sabotage twist quiz, which is Talon's challenge. And you can see there's a series of prompts that he's tampered with. You have to identify the prompt flaw. And again, you can see these are the answers, obviously. There are different kinds of questions within this, as well as some hotspots and things like that. And once they're finished, they must earn an 80% on both quizzes. Following the end of chapter 2, we move into the ethics of pitfalls of ethics. This chapter is a little bit different. It has a lot less reading material. By this point, students are they need more interactive things. So here you can see there is simply an infographic that I've made. Next, they're going to get to an escape room genially game that they will allow them to escape the pitfalls of AI. They can move through here and goes over the things that they need to learn. Again, they have to answer a question, right? They get to move on to the next piece of the next room, I should say, in the challenge. Once they're finished with that, they have to take a quiz on ethical decision making. So again, it's multiple choice, multiple answer matching, fill in the blank, and those kinds of things. And once they've finished that, that is the final quiz in the game. And then they have a reflection, a course summary, and a few more interactions with the characters. And then there is a little Easter egg here. And actually, I made it so that they would be Rickrolled just because I felt like that was funny. And the course ends with a feedback survey to allow the participants to provide feedback on the game and the content. Notice over here they have the ability to earn a badge at the end of every module, as well as a course badge overall. And there is a page, a final page, that congratulates them on being the digital literacy hero. And that is my game.